Oh, hey, how's it going? School fucking sucks, am I right? Hey, me and a couple of guys, we're gonna go over to Matt's house and subscribe to Eddy Burback. What? You don't subscribe to Eddy Burback? But people who subscribe to Eddy Burback are cool. Stop. You just fell victim to peer pressure. You don't need to subscribe to me to be cool. You have to subscribe to my podcast as well, that I run with Gus Johnson. Then you're cool. Because you were such an idiot and fell for the peer pressure, it seems like you need a lesson in something very personal to my childhood. It's time to learn about the Drug Abuse Resistance Education Program, otherwise known as DARE.
Don't do drugs.
Oh no.
Oh, don't you do it now. Don't do drugs.
No.
Someone pays you for a fool when they say come on be cool. Just be smart and heed this rule. Don't do drugs. Just tell them you got better things to do.
Explaining what DARE is a little bit weird because a lot of people had DARE in their schools and learned a lot about it when they were children. And I'm sure a lot of people also watching didn't have to deal with it at all because it's not in many schools anymore. Either way, we're gonna hear me talk about it a little bit, so let's learn some things. Also, obviously, I'm not an expert in this because, look at me, but I will be linking every article I use in the description below, just, so you could support the actual research that was done that I didn't have to do. So DARE was a program started in 1983 in Los Angeles, California. The Los Angeles Police Department and public schools came up with an idea to have police officers come to the classroom and teach kids about not doing drugs. The sole reason for DARE is to make sure that kids don't abuse drugs, which is just a good intention all around. I want to get that off the bat first because we're kind of going to be trashing DARE for a lot of this video, but I want you guys to know that the original intention was good. So the Washington Post article I found for it said the program drew bipartisan praise and spread like wildfire. Politicians realized that by supporting DARE, they could paint themselves as pro-cops and pro-kids. President Ronald Reagan proclaimed the first National DARE Day in 1988, a tradition that continued well into the Obama administration. Now, I have some expertise in talking about this because in my elementary school, the DARE program was huge. Before we get into the PSAs, I just want to reveal my personal bias against DARE. Now, this might seem silly to you, but you graduated from DARE. And at the end of 6th grade for me, when we were graduating DARE, the officer promised the greatest night of our lives. He said that everybody from our school would go to a bowling alley on a Friday night, and they would lock the doors, and we would spend an all-nighter in the bowling alley. He said there would be laser tag, he said there would be arcade games, there would be unlimited pizza and soda/pop. There's a small theater where movies play the entire night, so you could go do that. Pretty much a 12-year-old's dream. But when we got there, things were different. It was still cool. It was an all-nighter in the bowling alley. They kept up with that promise. But unlimited pizza? I only got one slice, and there wasn't enough food for everybody. I didn't eat dinner that night, and I was 12. So I got one slice of pizza, and then it was like, all right, stay up until 5 a.m. until your dad gets here. There was absolutely no laser tag. The arcade games were 2 crane machines. Now I realize that this sounds like the most privileged thing ever, because I still had a cool DARE program that supported the kids in the community to hang out and have fun. But it wasn't as fun as I wanted it to be. So fuck DARE. Let's watch some PSAs.
Don't join gangs.
No.
Oh, don't you do it now. Don't join gangs.
No.
So yeah, I lost the audio to the intro to this. Get off my back, dude! Pretty much what I said is that DARE needed to advertise to parents and kids so they would want to get it in their schools. So here's a commercial they ran to try and convince people.
Drugs. Some of the big kids do them. But my mom and dad helped get this DARE anti-drug program in our school.
It's run by specially trained police.
Now we're saying no to drugs.
Just say no.
Okay, well, one thing we know is the Just Say No initiative didn't work at all, so it's a little weird seeing that. But okay, if I want DARE in my school, how do I do it? Call the police department about it? Ask them if they're willing to do it?
Be your own best friend.
Get DARE in your kid's school too by visiting Country Style Donuts. Purchase the DARE Bear and show you care. Proceeds go to DARE in your community.
Wait, what? Go to Country Style Donuts and get the Dare Bear? That seems like a really weird way to get the Dare program in someone's school. I guess you're supporting it and showing that you'll fund it, but so you gotta buy Country Style Donuts to make sure your kid's not on drugs. So that's a Dare commercial, and it's kind of how they marketed themselves. But one thing I absolutely love about the program is for some reason they encourage kids to make their own anti-drug PSAs. Let's look at one from the mid-2000s about skaters. Okay, quick side note, that's the sickest fucking title card I've ever seen in my life. Rock on, dude.
Man, Mike's good.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Hey, you seen Mike skate lately? Yeah, he's here all the time. He's really good.
Fuck, Mike is so cool.
You guys want to feel good?
What's going on, guys? What is that?
Nothing.
Oh no. She's gonna have to tell Mike about the weed. Mike's the coolest guy around. What are you gonna do?
Wait, give me that. How are you gonna be any good on your board if you're doing this stuff?
Hey, Mike, what's it gonna take for us to skate like that?
Well, first off, this has nothing to do with it. It takes a lot of time and practice, dedication, and stay away from the drugs.
What the fuck, Mike? It's not even weed, it's a fruit by the foot.
You're right, Mike. Right on. You said it, man.
Sweet, bro.
Yeah, man.
Honestly, I can't even really make fun of that one. That's maybe the best anti-drug PSA I've ever seen because I want to be Mike so bad. Now, not everything was directly a DARE program, but even moving into the 2000s, there were still these fucking weird student-made informational videos that I don't understand.
It really does feel real when the game gets you, makes you do stuff.
I know, doesn't it?
Yeah. Here we go.
Does smoking marijuana make you someone special? Like part of a really important crowd? Are you two going to try it?
I don't know, man.
Well, Game, what do we need to know about it so we can decide for ourselves?
Well, I have some good news and some bad news.
No, what is that? Tell me what that is right now. What was the intention for this thing? Did they think that they were gonna green screen everything but his eyes and his lips and they were gonna be able to do something cool with it? They're calling him the Game? Is he supposed to be a video game? What video game have you ever played that looks like this guy?
Good news and some bad news. And while there is no good news about kids and marijuana, that's always bad.
Kids smoking marijuana hit a record low. There's some good news about kids and marijuana. I just wanted to prove you wrong, you fucking green screen monster. After we see this creature talk about the dangers, the health dangers of marijuana, they show a scene of these kids after smoking and that their conversation is absolute nonsense.
I think I'll paint my room blue. Blue in summer.
Yeah, I can.
Well, I don't know if she'll help. I think she doesn't like it.
Blue?
Well, my parents said it was all right with them.
Strange, isn't it? It's so hard to understand what they're talking about. It's really pretty weird. And they both think they're making perfect sense.
Yeah, it's almost like they're not high and they're just pretending to say nonsense shit because that's what you wrote.
Some people actually go to class with this stuff in their brains and then try to learn things.
Is that fucking B-roll of a mountain? Who did the effects for this? Why would he be a mountain? I can't get in the mind of the person who made this, and I want to. It almost seems like the person who made this was high.
And finally, to wrap up the bad news about marijuana, there is mounting evidence to show that it can decrease the production of sexual hormones. And you should know that the younger you are, the more marijuana can harm you.
And right before I go, because you probably didn't pay attention to the rest of this, you can't fuck if you smoke weed. Also, what is the design happening on him? This whole thing is fucking insane. So I should say now that there were studies done on DARE that are pretty famous now that proved that the original programs for DARE did not work at all. There's actually one study that suggests that kids who were in DARE were more likely to do drugs. So no matter what your opinion on drugs are, we know that these programs did not work. I think a surefire way to get kids to not abuse drugs is to make sure the bowling alley has a fucking laser tag place. If you're gonna tell a 6th grader there's gonna be laser tag. I love laser tag. I don't like bowling. In the early 90s, when studies started to come out about DARE not working, the director of DARE was shocked by it. And I get why, because it was a new program and you'd think, oh, all this information and all this stuff is definitely going to make sure kids don't do drugs. But that wasn't the case. And whether you like it or not, what we're kind of finding out is that it's very hard to tell people not to do drugs. Honestly, not being an expert in any of this, I would think that the number one way to get kids to stop would be to have their local cop come to their school and directly tell them, hey, I'm the guy that has to arrest you if you do drugs. So please don't make me arrest you. But that doesn't work. Those kids go directly into high school in that neighborhood and still smoke weed and do drugs. But watching more of the videos, you can kind of get an idea for why it didn't work.
Look at this. The marijuana can mess you up. Right. We've been getting high for what? 15 years? Nothing's ever happened. Did I get into all the drugs and start mugging people? Nah.
Okay, kind of an odd approach that I'm not used to seeing in drug PSAs. They're saying that these two guys have been smoking weed for 15 years and they're just fine. This does not match up at all with the times. I don't understand.
Didn't do anything. In fact, I'd say I'm exactly the same as when I smoked my first joint.
Eddie, did you even look for a job today?
No, Ma.
Marijuana can make nothing happen to you, too.
Okay, so that's a really bizarre take that I've actually never seen before. One, his name's Eddy, which doesn't really make sense because I'm kind of the only one. I understand what they're trying to do. There's a real thing of kids in high school, not all of them, but certain kids who start smoking weed and they do it too much. It hurts their grades and their productivity and their friendships. Abusing any substance can result in negative actions. But if you make an ad like this, people who smoke weed just want to say fuck you to that because they might be productive and see that, and it might make them want to do it more because fuck you for telling them not to. And that was a big thing, is that if you look at the timeline for it, the late 80s crossing into the early 90s is when DARE was in full swing. And that's where parents and police officers and teachers were telling kids, don't do drugs. Don't ever touch drugs. But that's also the time that rap and punk rock were becoming mainstream, and the attitude generally from kids in the early 90s were fuck our parents and fuck our teachers and fuck the police, as said in the popular song. So directly telling kids that they couldn't do something in a time where culturally that generation wanted to do the thing you're telling them not to do, I get how it wouldn't work that well. But maybe DARE would have worked if they gave me more than one slice of fucking pizza at the all-nighter. That's all. Maybe nobody would do drugs if you gave more pizza to the kids. You promised unlimited pizza. That's like not even possible. Why would I believe that? I'm so stupid.
Don't do drugs.
No.
Oh, don't you do it now. Don't do drugs.
So I forgot to film one more thing. Give me another break, dude. Just to start the positives off, I forgot to mention their anti-cigarette campaign. Just from personal experience, I think a big reason I didn't smoke cigarettes as a kid was because of the lessons DARE taught. And there's no direct study saying DARE specifically brought smoking numbers down because there was a lot of factors to it, but smoking is definitely way lower than it was in the 80s. So it looks like they had a large hand in dropping the cigarette smoking numbers. Now, the cool thing about DARE, you know, because DARE's really cool, is there were some lessons that had nothing to do with drugs. There was some that were teaching you not to play with guns. You know, they would give valuable info, like if you see a gun and there's no parent around, call the police or get a parent, never pick it up, never assume a gun isn't loaded, just things, you know, to make sure that kids didn't hurt themselves. But the way they would do it was so fucking weird. Here's a series they did called Retro Bill's Safety Tips.
What should you do if you find a gun?
What should you do if you find a gun? Did I say gun? I sure did. Guns and other weapons are dangerous and should not be handled by kids, which is you.
I hate how fast it moves. It's everything's too fast.
Never touch guns or bullets. Never touch other weapons such as knives. If you find a gun or other weapon, don't touch it. Tell your parent, a trusted adult, or the police about it. Right on.
Hold on, Retro Bill. You're going too fast. You're so cool, and the cameras are moving so fast I can't bring it all in. You're not cooler than Mike, though, that's for sure. Don't even fucking try, Retro Bill. Look at you. you'd never be Mike.
If your parent or guardian keeps a gun or weapon in the house, follow the safety rules that you've set up with them. Remember, don't touch or play with a weapon that is kept at home.
Actually, you're winning me over, Retro Bill. This is some fun. You're giving me info, like keeping it light. I like this.
Did you know that every day approximately 6 children and teenagers are killed by gunshots? No way. And of every 8 children who die before the age of 21, 1 child dies because he or she was shot.
Jesus Christ, dude. What else are you gonna tell me? Hey guys, Retro Bill here. Did you know everyone you know is gonna die one day? Did you not get a 4-year degree and you make YouTube videos in your room and you're really scared that it might end one day and that people might just decide that you're stupid and give up? And your entire dream dies in an instant because people finally decide that they don't want to watch you anymore and it just crumbles in front of you? Whoa! So after like a decade of research against what they were doing, Dare finally decided to change their tune. They rebranded with a new program that was called Keeping It Real. In the article in the Washington Post, it says that on their tax filings, they actually changed themselves from being an anti-drug program to just helping kids make good decisions. And that's what the Keeping It Real program is actually about. It's not about scaring kids about drugs, but it's trying to teach them how to make safe and good decisions throughout their childhood, which is good. But the thing is, there's just no real research yet on whether that's working. Either way though, just for the conversation, it's a better approach to treat kids, with respect and not try and scare them into not doing something because they'll probably just end up doing it anyway. But recently, this young, cool, handsome dude came with a new plan that's even better than Keeping It Real. It's called the We Have Actually Laser Tag and Unlimited Pizza and Arcade Games Initiative, and it's 100% effective. Sure, there's no research on it yet, but I can guarantee you that this is the right way to go. So Dare, if you would please just contact me or maybe state publicly that I was right and that you're sorry for not giving me unlimited pizza and laser tag and arcade games, all will be well and kids will stop doing drugs forever. So, I don't know, you're welcome, America. Thank you to Justin, Madison, Derek, Duncan, Aaron, Business Vulture, Kelly, Colleen, Bernard, Sophia, Leah, Anthony, Carol Ann, Damian, Gabrielle, Dom, Belle, Kenzie, Mallory, Amiko, Jackie, Lindsay, Aurora, Diana, Cold Brewskis, Alex, Lisa, Megan, Kiara, Zoe, Miranda, Reese, Amanda, Nichiban, Haley, Kara, Kat, Brian, Jasmine, Josie, Slashmaster, Walla, Reese, Dave and Janet, and Cody. Thank you guys so much.